Hey guys, this is Stephanie with the Mindfulness-Based Therapy. I'm a licensed therapist who helps clients to recover from disordered eating, recover from body image dissatisfaction, and helps you to regain control over your relationships with food, body, and inner self. All right, so I have my notes with me in my hand, and today I'm going to do an eating disorder 101 video. And I think I'm gonna make a series of videos. Today's video is going to be called Anorexia Nervosa 101, and let's just get into it. All right, so what is anorexia nervosa? So anorexia nervosa is simply the restriction of your body's food energy intake relative to what your body needs based on age, gender, development, and physical health, which leads to having a significantly low body weight. And contrary to what popular culture may lead us to believe, anorexia nervosa can impact anybody regardless of age, socioeconomic status, income level, race. It includes an intense fear of gaining weight, even though clinically you may be significantly underweight, affecting your physical health. And there is usually significant emotional distress associated with one's body and their shape, which can lead to an overall negative evaluation of the body or even denial of symptoms. And there are often persistent behaviors that can interfere with weight gain as well, such as severe restriction of food, calorie intake, over-exercising, and other behaviors. So according to the DSM-5 TR, subtypes include restricting type, and that is where during the last 3 months, an individual has not engaged in recurrent episodes of binge eating or purging behavior. For example, self-induced vomiting or the misuse of laxatives, diuretics, or enemas. This subtype describes presentations in which weight loss is accomplished primarily through dieting, fasting, or excessive exercise. So the next type that's specified by the DSM-5 TR is the binge eating purging type. And that's where during the last 3 months, the individual has engaged in recurrent episodes of binge eating or purging behavior, for example, self-induced vomiting or the misuse of laxatives, diuretics, or enemas. All right, so let's talk a little bit about development and course. Usually anorexia develops during early adolescence or young adulthood. So it rarely begins after the age of 40. However, there have been cases where people have experienced late onset, and older individuals are more likely to experience a longer onset. Clinical presentation may include more signs of a long-standing disorder. So what you should take away from this is just because you're over 40 does not mean that you cannot experience the onset of anorexia. So back to the DSM-5 TR. Medical diagnostic markers can include having certain laboratory abnormalities like mild anemia, trouble with bleeding, elevated blood nitrogen levels, hypercholesterolemia, elevated serum bicarbonate, hypokalemia due to laxative abuse. T4 levels are usually in the low normal range, while T3 levels are decreased. Low estrogen levels in females, decreased bone mass and bone density, hypoglycemia, electrolyte abnormalities, and that's really just to name a few. So as far as suicidality and mortality rates go, anorexia nervosa was researched to have one of the highest mortality rates of all of the psychiatric diagnoses. And according to the DSM-5 TR, suicide risk is elevated in anorexia nervosa, with rates reported to be 18 times greater than an age and gender matched comparison group during a research study. A systemic review found that suicide is the second leading cause of death in anorexia nervosa. So, what causes anorexia? Causes can sometimes, but not always, be associated with stressful life events or trauma, where restrictive eating patterns can be seen as a maladaptive way to regain a sense of control over one's life. There's also the environmental factors like cultural influences and the influence of society's unrealistic beauty standards that are often rooted in things like fat phobia, or a sense of beauty that's in alignment with Eurocentric beauty standards, which are largely understood to be very thin, with smaller features, smaller noses, thinner lips. Sometimes it can be family related, where we grew up in a family or in a home environment where thinness was valued. So let's talk about the treatment recommendations for anorexia nervosa. So in severe cases where an individual presents as underweight and malnourished, hospitalization is always recommended. And that is because of the severe medical related implications that go along with malnutrition. So it's important that those medical symptoms are treated. And also at treatment centers, you're going to have access to a whole team that will provide care. So not only will you have the physician, the nursing staff, but you're also going to have counselors, licensed therapists who are on site. You're going to have dietitians who are on site who can help with nutritional needs, and all of this is done in a monitored environment, and that is really best for the client at that time. And once you are on your road to recovery and you step down, it's always good to continue with psychotherapy services in order to keep that good work going and continue to work on addressing those underlying psychological factors that can often contribute to anorexia nervosa. Working with a registered dietitian is always best practice in order to receive nutritional counseling, as well as continue with your dietary plan that will best support your recovery. Treatment for anorexia nervosa truly requires coordination of care from a multitude of providers, and communication between providers is always best practice. So make sure that your providers are talking with each other and really discussing your case in order for you to receive the best treatment possible. All right, and it's very important to also remember that just because somebody doesn't meet all of the diagnostic criteria for anorexia nervosa in the DSM-5 TR, that does not mean that they are not suffering with a significant eating disorder. So we know that in the DSM-5 TR, the diagnosis of atypical anorexia was removed, and according to them, it was in order to increase clarity and avoid misclassification. And that was a diagnosis that was made when an individual maybe presented with some symptoms of anorexia nervosa, however, did not meet enough of the symptoms in order to assign that full diagnosis. So guys, I hope this video was helpful for you. Do not forget to like, share, and also subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to be coming up with some more content and psychoeducational information in order to help you to regain control over your relationship with food, body, and inner self. So I will talk with you later. Bye. It is weird talking to a camera. Like, it's just weird.